Okay, at this time, we'd like to call the February 6, 2017 Alexander County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. I would recognize Vice Chair Ronnie Reese for the invocation, and I will do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would, please stand.
Let's pray. Father, we come to you this evening, Lord, we thank you for this day, and Lord, for all the blessings you've given to us, for the opportunity to come back out here and, Lord, to make county decisions. We pray for wisdom for each one of us as we make decisions to move the county forward. Thank you for each citizen and for the protection of each one. Thank you for our county employees, for EMS, EMT, our emergency personnel, and fire department, police, and highway patrol, all those who work every day to protect us and the things that we have. Thank you for them. Just guide us through this meeting and give us the wisdom to make decisions that would move us forward and that would do good things for the county. We pray for each person here a safe journey back to their home, and just protect us in all that's going on. And we thank you for all the many blessings that we have here in the county. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Stand. Salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I did have a bunch in CVCC. I forgot about that. The lighting numbers. At this time, we have the commissioners' report. So if any of the commissioners have anything they'd like to report, feel free to do so at this time.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to report. I was at the CVCC Advisory Board today and gathered some interesting information from both CVCC and the K-12 school system. The one-to-one middle school initiative, they said, has gone very well at West and East, and they're piloting programs now in 3-5 at all elementary schools, and they're currently researching best practice for the K-2 model. Said that there's a series of parent meetings going on about those initiatives, as well as Early's College with over 200 applications, in which they said they'll take 100, and more courses, especially in the online and AP area at the high school through a partnership with, I believe it was Science and Math, I'm not sure, and that the Freshman Academy is going to start up in the fall, and that they've had several system-level presentations to the state board. So the school system has been represented very well across the state. On the CVCC Alexander area, part of the exciting news was their first Furniture Academy class had graduated and all got jobs, and they're currently working with the second class right now. So a lot of information, very informative, some really good things going on from great partnerships between the county and the school system and the community college.
Really just kind of got one thing. I was able to attend a fire department banquet it was in Stony Point. That was about the end of last month, and Jeff Beal and a couple and Ryan were there also. But really thought it was interesting at the amount of community involvement, the people that were there, and the ones who were volunteering. And gosh, they were giving awards. I think a couple was like maybe 45 or 50 years of service, and 20 years of service. So, and I think that stands true to all of our, not only just Stony Point, but all of our fire departments. They're working hard to get the things that are going to help our insurance ratings. The ratings they have affects the premium we pay. So, just need to remember those guys and how they're working hard for us, and a lot of them are volunteer, doing it on their time.
I'd like to add to that just one little tidbit. They reported on their numbers, and they report them a lot of different ways, but the bottom line is this is about a call a day or more for Stony Point Fire Department. Over the course of years, 360 some calls that they answered and dealt with, and like Ronnie said, volunteers. So wonderful people doing some great things.
Yeah, I imagine if we had to fund positions for firemen, it would be an extraordinary burden of cost on the community. So those people need to be thanked. Earlier today, we had a meeting, I think probably 2 or 3 meetings ago, we mentioned the forming a committee to rename the jail. And we met this morning at 7:30 for our first meeting and spent about an hour kind of going over some thoughts and ideas. Obviously, nothing at this point in time. We're still working on several things like dates, times, what we want to do exactly. But Vice Chairman Reese and I attended that with Mike Harrison and Trish Dagenhart. So we're going to meet each month and kind of dial this thing in so that we can do something that we think is very respectable and representative of what we want this to look like. So that's just an update from me. Anybody else? Okay. Gentlemen, you have the agenda in front of you. I'd entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to accept agenda as printed.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval and adoption of the agenda, please raise your right hand. Okay. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Okay. At this time, I'd recognize County Manager Rick French for an agreement with Energy United Water Corp. to provide emergency water.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packet is a draft agreement to provide water between Energy United and Alexander County. This is just to provide water in case of emergencies. There would be a connection made on Millersville Road. And we've been talking with Energy United about this project, and we need to draft an agreement. This is just a draft copy. At our March meeting, we'll bring back a final copy, but this is pretty close. But I just wanted to make you aware that we were working on that so that we can provide that in case they had an emergency.
Okay. Any questions?
Sounds good. So we're not voting tonight, we'll be voting next, okay.
Yes, sir. I just wanted you to be able to see the draft tonight.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
It absolutely makes sense to,
Having an emergency water source is probably a good
Sure.
idea.
absolutely.
Also, Mr. French, county sales tax revenue for 2016-17 budget year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county sales tax revenue report, this is for 5 months. In regular sales tax for Alexander County, for the county, we've collected $1,778,922. That represents a little over 40% of the budget collected and just 41.67% of the budget year that has expired. So we're really right on target in that regard. Compared to last year, we were actually a little over 8% ahead. So that's encouraging.
That's good.
With our new sales tax that we have that's restricted, for 5 months, we've collected $563,418. And we budgeted $1 million, and we did not receive that last year.
Okay.
I'm glad to answer any questions.
So year over year, we're up 8.02% year to date.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's pretty good, we're getting almost to the double digits, so.
It is.
That's a good thing.
Well, and you've seen a little, I mean, we've got there's a project going on 16 retail, I guess, the
That's-
O'Reilly's Auto Parts.
that's right.
And so, every time that happens, it shows up right here at some point in time.
That's right.
Sounds good.
Okay, Mr. French, if you'll go on with board appointments and reappointments.
Yes, sir. Equalization and Review Board, reappoint Doug Ramsey, David Odom, Linda Barnett, Bobby Norton, and Donovan Douglas for 1 year. Western Piedmont Council of Government Sister Cities Association, reappoint Dwight Shook and David Eisenhower as the alternate for 1 year. The Western Piedmont Council of Government Adult Care and Nursing Home, CAC, reappoint Glenn Dill Jr. for 3 years. And the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, appoint Leanne Wisnett, our Health Director, for 2 years.
Okay, gentlemen, you see the recommendations. Anyone would like to make a motion to accept these?
I make a motion to approve the appointments listed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
This list, there are a lot of good people.
They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I mean capable as well as just good people.
Okay. All those in favor of the appointments as presented, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, Mr. French, on to budget ordinance amendments number 23 through 26.
Yes, sir. One thing let me mention tonight, again, sometimes there's a question about budget amendments. Budget amendments are for, usually in our case, are for grants, or if we receive additional state funds. Sometimes it's even to close out a grant. If there's property that's damaged, if you receive insurance money for that, you have to do a budget amendment. If there's not, and you still have to replace the property, numbers of things like that are just not in the budget when it's adopted prior to June the 30th. And there's also things that'll happen during the year, both good and bad things that'll happen with like revenue streams and things like that we'll have to amend the budget for. So having said that, budget amendment number 22 is to increase the health department budget for additional state funds for maternal health, family planning, Ebola, to increase the health department budget for additional state funds for electronic medical record system, to increase the health department budget for Smiles for Kids grant from the Delta Dental Foundation, a nonprofit agency. Budget amendment number 23 is to increase the animal services budget to use private grant funds, not federal or state, to purchase a truck box for the animal control truck that was purchased in December of 2016, and to increase the senior center budget for additional revenues to be used for to purchase ceiling fans for the large room, paint, and add ventilation fans for the restrooms. Number 24 is to budget for repair of the exterior canopy at the Stony Point building, the Energy United building, per the estimate from Harrington Construction. That canopy was actually torn off the building during a storm last year, and we're starting to get some use out of the building, additional use, so we wanted to replace it. To reimburse the Emergency 911 Fund for fiscal year 2016 expenditures that should have been paid from the general fund. The transfer is required by the NC 911 Board based on their review of the county's fiscal year 2016 911 Fund Revenue Expenditure Report. And although it was only $300, it's something we had to do. To budget for closeout of the Mitchell Gold plus Bob Williams Natural Gas Expansion Project grant and transfer the remaining cash balance of local funds back into the general fund, and that was well over $7,500, so that's a positive thing, and it was a good project. And last but certainly not least, we have a project budget ordinance for the Industrial Park Pump Station Replacement Project. The total for that is $596,697. $298,348 is from a grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission, and it's administered by the North Carolina Department of Commerce. And the other portion of that, unfortunately, comes from Alexander County. It's our match of $298,349. Expenditures for the project or construction is the bulk of that. It's almost $470,000. Engineering and inspection fees, $55,000. Contingencies, environmental review, preparation, and the grant administration that the COG does. And I'll be glad to try to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Gentlemen, any questions regarding those budget amendments? In the Health Department, that was all state funds, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no local.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right.
Mr. Chairman, this may sound crazy, but more for the citizens of the county. I mean, we're looking at 22 through 27, essentially. Is that correct? Yes, we have several budget amendments. From what County Manager Rick French just said, sounded like a whole lot of money. And Mr. Chairman, just like you pointed out, budget amendment number 22, I mean, that is a net cost to the county of zero. Budget number 23 is a net cost to the county of zero. Budget number 24 has a net cost to Alexander County of $3,500 from fund balance. 25 is $300 and $300 cost to the county. No, I'm sorry, so that nets to zero, that's right. But my point being, and I'll be the first one to admit, especially when I was first on the board, budget, and I was on Board of Education, as were several of these other gentlemen, but I see these big budget numbers and different codes and different classifications and all these things, and a lot of times it just seems a little overwhelming, and it seems like it may seem like we're spending a lot more money than we're actually spending. And I say we, I mean, Alexander County, because a lot of these things are strictly moving money from one place to another. And obviously with Alexander County spending public money, anytime any money is moved from one area to another area, or any, full disclosure, is to be made. And so that's why, these things are done through the budget. And I just want to kind of mention that because, I know I come across as the mean type, don't want to spend a dollar, horses patoot, I guess you say on occasion. And I know the last ordinance, or the last amendment being the pump station at the industrial park, that's something that we have known was coming for a long time. That's something we've been planning for a long time, at least a couple years. Or, I mean, really since, I've only been here 2 years, 2 years and I guess 2 months. But that's been in the works since, for a good long time. So, and obviously if we didn't feel like it would be a positive for the county, we wouldn't, I don't think we would recommend it.
Yeah, I think that's an investment, because in order to continue to grow the industrial park, that's a requirement. We have to have that ability, and you're exactly right, Josh. It's, it's about the classification code of the expense. A lot of time, exactly what box it has to go in, and just moving it to that box. So, yeah. Any other comments on the budget amendments?
Well, just on the same lines, I reiterate kind of what Josh says, and we have been kind of looking, and that's what we're supposed to do, is look to get the best bargain we can for taxpayers' money, and we all have property here, and we're all taxpayers paying. But and two, we've got a local, or the buy local thing, and I'm just glad to see a local contractor on the bid for number 24. So, we want to use our people when we can, and when it goes beyond that, then sometimes we have to reach out further. But, I think good job with what's going on here.
Okay, would the gentleman anybody like to make a motion on the budget amendments? You could do them individually or as a group, I think. I don't think there's.
I would make a motion that we accept budget amendments 22 through 26, and then also accept ordinance number P3.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion?
I think we did that out of order, sorry.
Yeah, we got ahead a little bit.
Okay, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of accepting the budget amendments as presented, please raise your right hand. Those opposed, likewise. Mr. French?
Thank you. Before you have a press release, and it reads, Alexander County water tap fees discounted through June the 30th. Staff were asked to work on a press release for this, and we will certainly be posting this There's currently water users or potential water users can receive a discounted water tap charges through the end of June. All those meter tap charges will double on July 1st unless something else is resolved, but a discounted water tap for a 3/4 inch meter is what most residential people have. The discounted rate is $1,066, and I guess the other most common would be a 2-inch meter, but most, which is $5,190. All those tap charges would double July 1st. But that's been done by the commissioners to provide incentives for people to tap on, and that's only for homes or businesses that are located on a road that is currently served by Alexander County, City of Hickory water system. So again, if you're interested, you need to contact City of Hickory Public Utilities, and their number is 323-7427. So that's just one thing we want to get out there. And we're going to be running in the Star and Coastal Times and some other,
Okay.
so people will know about it. Any questions about that?
One clarification just for me and for everyone. The increase in the tap charges is not something that we have chosen to do, correct?
That's correct.
It is, I mean,
City of Hickory.
the city, I was gonna say, it's the City of Hickory.
And those
Right.
water tap charges actually could be discounted if we address that in the budget. So that's something we can talk about some more during our budget process for next year.
Okay.
That's okay.
So basically, the normal water tap charges would be or would have been double the amount that we have been paying
That's correct. Yes, sir.
up until, currently through the end of June.
Yes, sir.
And we are basically, I don't want to say falling, but we're falling back to the normal City of Hickory
Right.
Rick,
fee structure.
in regard to this, if someone actually applies for the meter, but for some reason it cannot be installed by July 1st, as long as they've done the application, this price would be honored?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
A couple other things I'll mention from the county manager's update. For the last couple of months, it's been reported in the Morganton News Herald about, they've talked about jail overcrowding in Burke County. And during the Burke County Commissioners meeting, it was reported that our jail, the Alexander County Detention Center, was full and that we didn't have any room for any more inmates. And that is simply not true. I've talked with the county manager, Brian Steen, a couple of times, sent emails. The sheriff has talked to the sheriff there, so we want to make sure they're clear that we do have room at the end, so to speak. As of February the 6th, we had a total population in our detention facility of 82. So there's 152 beds, so we do have room to lease beds. And something else to point out, the CVCC Alexander Applied Technology Center, the project is winding down. The target date we have to open is going to be February the 20th, which will be 2 weeks from today. But talking with County Engineer Darrell Robertson earlier today, I think that's our target date for sure. We've got a few other things. They're brought in a load of furniture today, and it's been assembled. They have 2 more loads that'll be set up. There's still a few odds and ends and clean up, so February 20th is our target date. So just make you aware of that. And that's all I have. I have a number of things, contractual things for closed session, but that's all I have, unless there's any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions, gentlemen? Okay, you also have in front of you the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
Make a motion to accept as presented.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the consent agenda, please raise your right hand. Those opposed? Nay. Okay, well, this is the quickest meeting ever, so we need to write this down, but we're getting ready to enter into budget season, so this will probably be the last quick one for quite some time. At this time, we would go into closed session, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A, 4, 5, and 6 for economic development, contractual, and personnel. We will reconvene only to adjourn. So would anybody like to make that in the form of a motion that we got to close?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay. Thank you.